Hi, my name is Ellen from the Trailhead Homestead. Welcome to The Garden Path, a series where we take you all over Alaska and sometimes other places in the north to explore community gardens and other cooperative agriculture systems. This week we're going only a few miles away from my homestead to explore the Goldstream Community Garden. This is a garden that popped up only a couple of years ago and already boasts some huge success in the community. It's located next to a playground and an already established community center and ball field, so it's the perfect place. I love going to hang out there and meet new people that live right next door to me. So without further ado, let's go check it out. Hi everybody, we're here at Goldstream Community Garden with CJ, who is the organizer here, one of the organizers here. We're so happy to have you on the show, on our video series. Can you tell us what your name is and what do you do here at the garden?
My name is Christine Russell. I go by CJ in the valley here. And I am one of the facilitators, I like to say, of the Goldstream Community Garden. Myself and another gal named Zoe Marshall. We started this up.
When did you start?
Well, in 2020, of course, big changes were happening in the world, and it spurred on an already big idea that many people have had in the valley, but this time we had more motivation and also a few more people involved. So I'm a member of the Goldstream Valley Lions Club, and Zoe and I, we had this idea. So in February, we approached the Lions, who own a big chunk of land and had an empty space next to the playground, and asked them if we could grow and create a garden.
Very cool. So this is Goldstream Community Garden. For those who have never heard of a community garden, can you explain a little bit what that premise is and why is it different than somebody's private garden in their backyard?
Well, for us and our mission statement, I guess you could say, we wanted to create an environment that was non-judgmental, that brought all levels of people in the community with different resources to offer, whether it was their expertise or materials. Our garden here in the Goldstream is built primarily off of all volunteer aspects. So for us, our mission statement was to create a place to encourage and enrich the sustainable agriculture, create an educational space, as well as make people aware of our food security up here in the north. We are in particularly a fragile state because we are the end of the line, and a lot of people understand that, but a lot of people don't have the space because of perhaps their ecosystem that they might live in. Here in Alaska and even Fairbanks alone, there are a lot of different micro ecosystems, so some people don't have good soil or good sun exposure or a viable space, so we wanted to make sure we could create something like that for anybody of all ranges of need and necessity to be able to grow some food.
Very cool. So here in your garden you have a whole bunch of beds as they're right behind us. Can you tell us how the bed renting works and how the functions of the community garden works?
Well, we have about 27 boxes that have been made over the course of the 3 years. The premise was basically to be a shared garden for shared food and then also to rent out. So right now we rent out about 15 boxes, and this is our first official year of renting them out. And so how we've done it is it's $20 for a box, and we can waive that fee if you in turn at some point during the season give a little workshop or a talk about what you've grown, what you've learned. So it's kind of sharing knowledge. It's just not about sharing. It's just not about making money at all, obviously.
Yeah. That's a great alternative to people who may not be able to afford building their own or creating their own, or who have more knowledge than they have time or money.
Yeah, and a lot of these boxes, as you can see, they're super colorful, and they were built with a lot of love and creativity.
Yeah.
And all these materials were donated. We do provide the compost, the soil, the watering system. There's tools available for people to utilize. So, yeah.
So that leads me to my next section. I was wondering, can you tell us how the day-to-day chores are distributed? You need to turn over the compost, you need to fill the watering. Who's responsible for that? And are there any requirements that you require from people who have rented out beds?
Well, we do ask them to have their box planted out by June 15th. And if that is not planted out by June 15th, then it's basically an open bed for us to plant for a shared community garden bed. So then after that, of course, we go with the ethos that you'll maintain it and you won't let some invasive weeds take over. We do have a separate area for those where they're just going to the dump. We have a compost bin that you can put any compost in there, or compostable items. We have a work party Wednesday, so from 4 onward, pretty loose, you can come by. And then we do have a system that we just started this year, Safer the Watering. So we have a red, yellow and green system for watering. So
you can see these posts behind us. Some of them have yellow stakes and some of them have red stakes.
Yeah. So it indicates green, it's basically, if you see my plants need help, please help them. If it's yellow, it's basically ask permission or let us know. And then there's the red stake, just indicating, you know, I'm out here every day, or please don't touch, because there are some unusual plants that some people, it's not your standard plants. There's some people that have some really unique things that have different needs that you may not know.
Come the end of the season or mid-season, about when your food and your flowers and all the rest of your plants have started to mature, are the people who grew them responsible for their
Yes, we do ask that again, like at the end of the season, we'll have an end of the season party. We did have a cleanup party so that we can clean all the beds, add amendments at the beginning. And I mean, there are some crops that are obviously going to last a little longer, but we do, around the middle of September, have a harvest festival where people, if they want to share, where we'll have a big potluck of all the goods. And also too, anything from our community beds, if it's like too much, then we donate it to the food bank. We just got donated a fridge, so that's pretty exciting.
Very cool.
So if there's any excess, like of course everything comes all at once, like zucchinis or the greens, when there's an overabundance and you can't give it away. We do now have a little bit of cold storage.
So for a certain amount of time after you've harvested it, if you don't take it home as yours, you can pass it along. I have certainly seen a lot of people interacting with the Facebook posts and a lot of people showing up to your events and your work parties. Can you tell us a little bit about how it's grown from when you started, how the participation has grown? How many people does it take to run it, and have you reached that and more?
Yeah, that's a good question. So at the beginning, it was primarily just a very small core group of us. But now this year, we really had a great showing of a lot of people who are now core valuable members in terms of the media end of things and getting it out there and doing the advertisement. Somebody's able to take that over and taking that as their volunteer position. And then somebody as a coordinator for the rental beds. And then with the watering in our system, it's basically a lot of us, we just stop in a lot of the time because it is like the Goldstream where we are at. We're very fortunate. We're on a main thoroughfare and it is a very tight-knit community. And the value of this place is that we have a soccer field, we have a bike park, we have a playground.
Right here in this, within eye shot of where we're sitting right now.
We have a community center that was built by the Lions Club about 20 years ago where a lot of people already know that we're here. And so I would say it has definitely brought a lot more people into this area and a lot of kids because we already have our playground. A lot of parents just come here. It's a great place. So I've seen a lot more kids involved, and that's really exciting for a lot of us is they just come in here and they take over. They've got a few beds over here that they get to play in the dirt. So yes, we're super fortunate for that.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a little bit, you are a nonprofit. How would you describe the process of starting that nonprofit and getting support from the Lions Club, and how does that work?
Well, they already established that. The Lions Club is a nonprofit, a 501c4, and they established that quite a while ago, so that was to our advantage. We are basically like an arm of the Lions Club at this point. We have looked into getting our own status so that we, there is more access to a lot more funding, but that's pretty big. It's kind of there's people out there I know that are really good at it, but we're super grassroots right now.
Can you tell me a little bit about what it costs to maintain the garden during the summer, and where do you get that money?
Well, we actually have an amazing little program that we just have some cans at some local or places. There's a general store next to us. There's a couple sports places. We live next to a restaurant, Ivory Jack's. And so we have raised probably over $3,500 in the past couple of years just by people putting their spare change, just like they have at a lot of major grocery stores. We did secure a $5,000 grant for the fence, which was through that one foundation. Our water system, which we are super fortunate, we live next to an artesian well house, so we don't have to pay for water.
Wow, great.
And so a lot of it is like small fundraising things, but really, honestly, most of our money is coming from those cans.
Wow.
Yeah. We do hope to, in the future, to get our watering system for our community members a little bit more accessible. And that would be something, there are grants out there. The Division of Agriculture does have a lot of micro grants available. Out for small communities, especially for sustainable development of community gardens.
Speaking of accessibility, you said you have one bed over there that is specifically designed to roll in a wheelchair and to be able to work about a 180 degree kind of. What other things other than the height of the beds and have you done to promote accessibility, and have you seen people using it?
Yes, actually, I have not seen anybody in a wheelchair, but I have seen people who have come in with a walker, and we also did get donated. There was a fellow in town who is an elder person who donated some raised beds that were the level of somebody who was standing. And also for them to work, if they wanted to do seedlings. So we have some higher raised tables so that people can transplant with ease.
What have been some really unexpected things that you did not anticipate, positive and negative?
The only thing would be maybe at the very beginning when we were trying to, and it was a learning curve when we were trying to establish it. We had a lot of passion. And it was good because we had some people rein us in terms of oh, that's a great idea, but what about the longevity of when you were moving on maybe out of this community, how is that you know, what is that vision? And so it made us, some of the key people, kind of step back and say, okay, yeah, we do have to have a longer vision than just like, oh, you know, it's 2020 and we have this passion on doing the Victory Garden and everybody wants to do this and it's going to, you know, get together. But the longevity and the sustainability and the future vision of, okay, and you know, unfortunately having to think about the negative aspects of the human nature of like, oh, do we put a fence to lock people out? And it was kind of a debate that I didn't expect, because it hadn't even occurred to me that that would even be something that should be considered. And we've chosen not to, but that's because of our location. I know that there's some places that they have to, unfortunately, because there is vandalism.
To wrap up a little bit, you're 3 years in. Say some of our viewers out there are really interested in this and they think this would be a great solution for their community. What advice would you give to somebody trying to start something like this in their own little community?
Well, I would definitely say there are a huge amount of resources out there online. Through your cooperative extension, we've really relied on them in terms of knowledge. There's most cooperative extensions, I think they have what's called a community garden toolkit. And so we started over the winter when everybody's kind of in that headspace. And so I would definitely reach out, keep things small at the beginning, utilize the people that you already have around you, and feed them well. And make it fun. Don't put too much stress on having everything perfect all at once. Lots of conversation, try and get a core group of people that are committed to it for more than just a couple years. Don't go over the top of like, oh, we need a board and we need a treasurer and a president. Like, don't get caught up in that, I feel like, because then you get kind of put into a box of thinking. Just like, keep talking to people and spreading the word. There's lots of community gardens out there. Go for a tour, and every place is different in terms of how they do it, how they lay it out, and have a fence to keep all the moose out.
I was
or
say.
To keep all the other, to keep the moose out, basically, because
It's mostly the moose.
Mostly the moose here, at least. Good. Keep it small, keep it simple at the very beginning, and be patient.
Excellent advice. One more thing, have you noticed a positive influence on the people that are using the gardens mentally? Do you think they have received some good mental health positivity from this?
I have noticed, especially here in the north, we do suffer from a lot of substance abuse and mental health issues. A lot of people come out here, and even if they're not gardening, that really benefit from just the community aspect of not being isolated in their own struggles, what's going on. And you're outside in the sun, and there's different options to create an environment that isn't as toxic as maybe going to a bar or continuing to, hang around with people who are suffering their own problems. And so I definitely see that. And for the kids too, there's people who bring their kids out here who are really challenged sometimes. They might not have the support system because they might not have family around. And to bring their kids out here, it's giving them a community, especially for their kids, to be in a healthy environment instead of isolating themselves. So we've definitely seen that for sure.
Excellent. Well, hey, we're running out of time, but I am so happy to have had time.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time here and meeting us. I know that we've been waiting for the weather a little bit, waiting for this interview, but I'm so excited to learn more about this garden in my own community. And I'm looking forward to coming and visiting. I know you've got markets and things coming up. You have work days. So I will post all of the links to the Goldstream Community Garden's social media.
We do have a Facebook page, so the Goldstream Community Garden.
Okay.
And a lot of the times we are linked to any events that we have coming up. We are linked with the Goldstream Valley Lions Club, which do have a website.
All right.
Which is goldstreamvalleylionsclub.org. We have pretty much a workshop almost every week, maybe 3 a month now. We're really excited about that actually, because now the really hard work is done. Now we can bring people together and pass on all that knowledge. And I think it's not just about growing the food, it's just about planting the seeds.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
And we'll post all of those links in the description below. And
Awesome.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Cool. Well, thank you. It was nice meeting you. Yes, I'm excited.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you like this video, then like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us reach more people who will find this information helpful. We do all of this work out of pocket, so if you want to support us and make sure more of these videos get made, check out our merch store and buy one of our eco-friendly t-shirts or sweatshirts. All links are down in the description below. Thanks again, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye!